Hello there, and welcome to day 2 of Accepting Your Heart's Desires. I hope you enjoyed the first activity yesterday and that you found that it did something to make you really think. And the whole process of this program is sort of layering upon layering, helping you go deeper and deeper and to understand what it is that's going on within you and where you maybe are stuck. Maybe where you're not accepting certain things, certain truths, and really starting to peel back those layers and to get you to a really great place to accepting your heart's desires. So today we are going to focus on going further along the chakras, and we're going to have a look at the second chakra, which is called the sacral chakra. Now this is situated in the lower back. It encompasses the hips and the genital area, the reproductive system. And this is where we have our one-on-one relationships. So obviously it encompasses sexuality. It encompasses control, how much money we have or capacity to hold on to money. And also all our power issues, our control issues. And so this chakra is all about the energy of having a union with someone else, an intimate union with someone else. And it's about how we have a union. The truth within this chakra is, whoever is in our lives is in union with us. And we have to see that as divinely organized, not earthly organized. So for example, you may have had a relationship with somebody previously, further back in your past. And maybe you met them through friends or a family member introduced you, or you met them at work or on online dating. And you think that, oh yeah, my friends organised that, or Match.com organised that. Well, it didn't, because the divine, the great unseen, the universe, your angels, they all divinely orchestrated it so that person was in your life. And with our relationships with other people, when we become conscious, we realize that the answer to spiritual consciousness isn't about having effortless relationships with these people who land in our lives that we think we just bumped into, but actually they were divinely arranged to be there. It's about really looking at each other and seeing where the lesson is in that. And sometimes our relationships will cause us great joy, and other times it will cause us a lot of pain too. And that's part of the lesson, the great journey. So I want you to imagine, if you were a person who was very jealous and you suffered from great jealousy, you look at other people and you just think, oh, I want what they've got. Who would be the best teacher to cure you of your jealousy, or to really raise that in your consciousness that that's an issue and you need to resolve? Well, if I was your angel, I would send you somebody who you could be so jealous of, who had absolutely everything you wanted, to really surface that and bring it to a head. So think about times in the past where you have come in contact with, you've experienced this union, and it doesn't have to be a sexual union. It can be a friendship too. It can be a work colleague. It's about our one-on-one relationships, how we relate to somebody else and they're close to us in some way. And where you have had difficulties, pain, barriers, very maybe painful experiences that you consider to be quite negative, and think about those as an illusion. So imagine if you have a problem with being alone, or the need to depend on other people. You always need to be surrounded by other people or somebody to look after you. If I was your angel, I would send you a person, a lover, a parent who abandons you and who are able to mature past this and say, I can't handle my own response to what's happening. And you start to ask the question beyond what's going on with the other person, and you start to say, what is it that I'm afraid of? Why am I afraid of moving past this issue that I have? And so the best teacher is always the one who forces you to move on. And in my book, The Angel Wisdom Workshop, which I know some of you have read, I talk about these people as the bad guys. These are the people who show up in our lives and they appear to give us such a hard time. They appear to really sometimes destroy our lives or destroy our self-esteem, our confidence, kind of rip our world apart. But then equally, the light goes on and you see that if you can get through that, you can get through anything, and it makes you a stronger person. And if it doesn't, you will continue to be tested and tested. So this second chakra, this sacral chakra, is about the capacity to see a spiritual reason for every single person within whom you're in contact with in your life. And it's asking you to say, if you're going through something right now, then, good for you. I've been there. I know how that feels. And it's about saying, I will see you through this divine communion self. Even if it kills me, I'll get through this pain point in my life. And sometimes the best thing you can do is, if there's a person who's causing you a lot of pain and you just can't stand it anymore, the best thing to do is leave them alone. But the challenge here is to do it without hate, without resentment, without fear, or judging them for being a nasty person. Because we want to have a confirmation from other people that that person's being horrible. And it really isn't about that. It is about the fact that we have them in our life as a teacher. So when we look at the tree of life, which I'm loving the whole tree of life fitting in with the chakras, the second part of the tree of life as you move up the trunk, so the trunk is the phallus, so the phallic symbol, the masculine energy. So the root chakra is the feminine, the roots going down into the earth, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, and then we move into this masculine energy, the center of creativity. So the second chakra is about creativity. It's where our we would hold a baby, or where a man would, have his reproductive organs. And it's about creating, and creating requires you to work with other people. So whether it's being part of a team to create something, whether it's being part of a couple, a male and female creating a life, which is the ultimate creation, or even art or thoughts, or anything that we create is taking action and making something. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be, the thought processes. It needs a trigger, a germ, a seed from somebody else to help you to do that. And whatever you create is irrelevant, but it's about honouring one another in the process of doing that, and recognising that you need that other person or people to actually help you to create that. So the truth here is to honour one another. This isn't the honour code. The truth and in the second chakra is honour one another. And sometimes we don't honour one another. So I'm going to give you an example of an experience that I had. And in my Angel Wisdom book, I talk about this man called Daniel. This is a name that I made up. He's not actually called Daniel, but I don't want to out him and say his real name, because he did me a massive favour and I bless him every day for what he did. But basically he treated me very badly at a time in my life when I really didn't feel like I had any self-worth, and I didn't believe that I was lovable. That was a really big thing for me. I didn't feel like I was lovable. So I didn't get sent somebody who would nurture and look after me and reassure me and help me and make me feel like I was lovable. I got sent the most tyrannical, controlling, quite abusive person who didn't think very much of himself either, and we were like mirrors for one another. So he basically ground me into the floor every day and said different things to me. He trashed my house, he physically hurt me, he mentally hurt me. He left me, but he would always come back. Just when I was getting the strength to say, no, I don't want you in my life, he would come back just as I was sort of at the point where I was still a little bit weak. Until I got to the point where I had had enough and I recognized my own value and my own strength, and I said no. And he left, and he didn't come back. He didn't try. On that occasion, it was like I snapped and I knew in that moment. he had done too much, he had gone too far. He sat for 3 hours and mentally abused me and said awful things, and I had to call the police. So it's not something that I talk about a lot or openly, but I'm sharing this with you because I want to be open about this. Is a very, very good example of it. And then what happened was I went around saying what a horrible person he was and telling my closest, nearest and dearest about him, and they all agreed with me. But inside, I still didn't quite feel like I didn't deserve to be treated that way. I almost felt like I deserved it. And I really resented him. And so the shadow side of our second chakra is where we hold resentment, where we hold the need to get back at someone, vengeance. And we really need to work hard in the second chakra to see the divine reason, not the illusion. So it was when I started to really go deep and connect with my angels and start to think about what were the divine reasons for all of these things that had happened in my life. I went way back along the line. I started with Daniel and then I went all the way back. And I realized that everything was just as it should be. And I had to have faith that there was a divine hand behind everything. And that I had to look at the lessons. So I would like to ask you to mull over this. This one today might take you a while because I'm sure there are plenty of people who have done you wrong, treated you badly, who have been very hard teachers in your life. And I would like you to take a journal and take a few moments to sit down and write down the ones that have really hit you hardest. And also to think about who are you still holding on to resentment around? Who, if you bumped into them in the street, would you feel like they are the last person on earth that I'd want to see, or I want to slap their face, or I know what I would say to them if I saw them? Who is that? And then I would like you, once you've done that, to think about what is the divine reason behind them being in my life? Why did that person need to be in my life doing that? What was the lesson in that for me about the truth, about honoring one another? What is that part of me that I needed to learn about, where the lights went on? So take a little bit of time to do this. You might have to come back to this exercise. There may be quite a few people that you need to do this around. But I will leave you with the thought that Carolyn Myss, whose work I adore, she says this about the second chakra, and indeed about all the chakras, that when you have no choices, go back to the tree of life. When you're stuck, go back to the chakras and look at the lesson there. And live the mystery of your life. And if you really don't understand it, then just try to do it every day with spiritual elegance. Thank you.